Hi YouTubers, it is your girl Jasmine Marie and I am here with a video to discuss The Bachelorette Season 18 Episode 4. Wow, what an episode. 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 Tonight I'm drinking Truly. It's the holiday collection Trulies. My camera's on this side, yeah. So it's the holiday collection Trulies. Yeah, so Truly, this is the holiday collection Trulies. This one is pomegranate ginger. Pomegranate ginger fizz. This one is pretty good. I don't like the apple crisp and I don't care for the cran orange. Anyway, let's get up into this episode. So, whew, another good episode. So the night started off with the guys. They were sitting around, they were talking, they were excited for this week because of all the things that had transpired in the previous week. So there was Joe, Romeo, and one other guy. I can't remember who the other guy was, but he was also, they were just in the setting and they were talking about everything that went down the previous night with Jamie, and they were just giving their thoughts on Jamie. And then the screen switches and you see Michelle. She's talking with, I always forget that girl's name, but I feel like it's like Kaylee or something. I could be wrong, but I don't know her name, but she's always talking with her. So she was just discussing with her about everything that transpired with Jamie and how it made her feel and yada yada yada. So then we get to the part where all the guys now, they're sitting down and they're waiting on the first date card. So oh, I feel so good, y'all. I just had my shower after such a long day. I'm drinking my seltzer and I have to watch Our Kind of People after I film this video. Our Kind of People has been on a 2-week break, so I'm so excited to watch it. I'm even waiting to eat dinner, just like to eat dinner while I watch Our Kind of People. Anyway, so the guys are sitting around and they're waiting on the first date card. Not the first date card. They're waiting on the first group date card. So the group date is going to tell them, all the guys who are going on the group date. If you're not invited on the group date, that means that you have a one-on-one date. So ideally, you will want the one-on-one date because that's the date where you don't have to share Michelle and you don't have to only get like 3 to 5 minutes of time, but you get like a full date, right? So the girl walks in, I think Tisha is her name. She walks in, she exchanges words with the guys, and she tells everybody who's on the first group date card, all the guys are on there except Martin, right? So that means that Martin is getting the first date. Now, episode 4, we should know at this point, I don't like Martin. I am not a fan of Martin. I just feel like there's something about Martin that I don't like. I feel like he's not necessarily pretending, but he gives me going with the flow vibes, I feel like. So I'm just not a fan of Martin. However, Martin gets the first date, right? So Martin and Michelle, let's move forward to the first date. So Martin and Michelle, they go on the first date. They go to the BMW driving school as their first date. That is a really cool date. I actually have had the luxury of doing the Porsche driving school. And when I tell you guys, it was amazing. Like, I drove the little two-door Porsche, excuse me. And I remember when we did like the turbo launch. And it's so funny because I did it when I worked in hospitality industry. I was an event manager. And me and the whole sales team, we went. And our director of sales was like, you could tell which ones in the group have kids because they're stopping way before the wall. Because basically you would drive, like, you would go from 0 to 120 miles per hour in like 2 seconds, literally 2 or 3 seconds. And there was a wall and you had to like stop before you got to the wall. And like the people who had children and stuff, like we were stopping, and husbands, we were like stopping way before not living on the edge. But yeah, it's a really cool experience. So that was a cool date that they got to do that. And they did theirs at the BMW driving school. I was fortunate enough to do mine at the Porsche driving school, which is located in Birmingham, Alabama, or near Birmingham. It's about, where is it? It's like probably 30 minutes away from Birmingham. But anyway, so on their date, somehow it comes up that Michelle asked him about the Jamie situation, because he was actually close to Jamie and cool with Jamie. So I don't know how it actually came up, but somehow they started talking about what had transpired with Jamie, right? And Martin has the fucking nerve to say, well, I'm not trying to take his side, but X, Y, and Z. So he's basically saying that it did sound like he was saying that Jamie shouldn't have gone home. And he was basically saying, like, even though the other guys don't like Jamie, I still like Jamie. I still think he's a good person. And he was saying some other stuff. And at that point, Michelle felt like Martin was telling her that she made the wrong decision. Rightfully so, because I can see how she felt that way. Because it did kind of feel like he was sticking up for Jamie. And it's like, why are you sticking up for Jamie, bitch? You don't even, like, know Jamie. Did you know Jamie before this show? I don't think so. You just met him on this show. We ain't even been here probably at this point a month. Like, why is your loyalty so with Jamie? I didn't understand that. To the point where you are acting like you sad that he's gone. Like, I understand that people, you know, you have like little buddies in the house or whatever. But what Jamie did was fucked up. And if you don't see that, and if you feel that, well, maybe he should have gotten a second chance, that makes me question your character, Martin. Martin, I already don't like you, okay? So don't make me question your character even further than what I've already questioned it. Because for him to be like, well, anything, no. It's unfortunate what he did. I wish he had never done that. I wish he would have communicated with you and just been upfront about his feelings. Instead, this motherfucker did a whole lie story about something that never happened, lying on other people, and just creating drama that didn't need to be created, right? So at this point, I'm looking at Martin sideways. Or, you know, y'all know I already don't like Martin, so I'm looking at him extra sideways. So Michelle says that she, you know, felt shut down by the way Martin was acting. And, you know, she just felt like he was saying that she made the wrong decision by letting him go. So then he gets into this deep conversation about how he was brought up and crying is a bad example. And I feel like at that point, he knew that he fucked up. So he just started talking and telling stories to excuse the things that he had just said. But I feel like Michelle should have kept those ears open and just taken him for what he is. And for what the situation was. But because then he came with a little sob story or whatever, it kind of made the situation more emotional than what it really was. So they, you know, had this really deep conversation on the second part of their date, where they got in like to the hot tub and all this stuff. And they were at dinner and, you know, he just was, oh, my dad was this way. I never knew that it was okay for a man to cry. And, you know, just saying all this stuff that to me, it still doesn't negate the fact that you kind of vindicated that Jamie's behavior was okay, right? So whatever. So anyways, after that, actually, I think after that is when the card thing happened. No, it was before that. Basically, I'm trying to figure out, was that before or after they knew who was going on the group date? Anyway, Rick gets the second. So there was two one-on-one dates given out. So Martin got the first one and Rick got the second one. All the other guys went on a group date. So when they were waiting to see who was going to go on the second first date with Michelle, the guys were just saying like, oh, you know, I actually hope that I'm not picked for the group date because I want this one-on-one time or whatever. And then at one point Nate said something like, oh, he was like, I'm in a good spot regardless, so whatever. Like, you know, like basically like he felt confident enough as to where he is with Michelle that if he doesn't get the one-on-one, he's fine with going on the group date because he feels like they're in a good spot, right? So with me saying that, keep in mind the stuff that's going to transpire later on down the road. So then the lady comes in. I think I said it originally, I said it backwards. So then she comes in and says that Rick is actually going on the second first date. So they go on their group date, and on the group date is where I think 12 of the guys, because it's 14 guys total now. They started off with 30 and now they're already down to 14. So half of the guys are gone. So they go on the group date. It's 12 guys. It's Leroy, Rodney, Joe, Clay, Nate, Will, Chris, Casey, Romeo, and Chris G. There's 2 Chris's. There's Chris there's Chris S and there's Chris G. Excuse me, myself, sir. Olu and Brandon, okay? They all are on the little group date. The group date was set up to like really fun. It looked like it was a blast. They basically had a slumber party and they had like cotton candy, popcorn. They were going to do some fighting. They had like a little area set up for them to get pedicures. It looked like it was just a ball of fun. And you could tell that the guys were having so much fun. And with that being said, Michelle kind of felt like nobody was paying her attention, like she wasn't seen, because she kept saying, I feel like I'm not seen. Nobody's even pulling me aside. They're not creating those small moments. And I'm not going to lie, like that was kind of getting on my nerve just a little bit, because you are on a group date. I understand that you're trying to find your person, but just in this one moment, if nobody walks up to you, I really personally, just me, I don't think it's a big deal. But for her, it's a big deal because she wants to feel seen. She obviously wants to feel loved, and she wants to be noticed. And she wasn't being dramatic about it, but you can just tell that she kind of was reflecting maybe back to her younger childhood on those days where she like wasn't seen or whatever, because she literally said a lot of times, 10 to 15 to 30 to 50 times, I feel like I'm not being seen. I feel like I'm not being seen. And it's like, sis, they're all here for you. They see you, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, like when I was watching it, I was like, sis, you might need therapy. If you need to feel seen that bad, like something might not be right. I'm not saying that she doesn't already do therapy, but I feel like that's not necessarily a good trait. You know, not saying that she maybe always has to be center of attention, because she did say that she didn't always have to be the center of attention. But that came out very weird. Like the constantly saying, I feel like I'm not seen. I feel like I'm not seen. I feel like I'm not seen. Yada, yada, yada. And you can just tell the guys were just having a good time. And Brandon actually was like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to her, but I'm going to wait a little bit or whatever. So his intentions were to talk to her, but he never got around to do it. So they got down to the point where they were going to do like this pillow fight, but they were using stuffed animals, which was so freaking cool. So Joe went against Clayton, and Clayton won. Leroy went against Rodney. Leroy won. Nate went against Will. Will won. I don't like Will, by the way. Will is the one who was arguing with Peter, the pizzapreneur. I'm not really a fan of him. Chris S went against Casey, and Casey won. Romeo went against Chris G. Chris G won. Olu went against Brandon, and Brandon won. Now, when it was Olu's turn to go, baby, he stripped down. And baby is fine. Ooh, he is fine. Lord Jesus, he's fine. So, anyway, after all of that, they were on separate teams. So I forgot specifically whose team won, but the winning team, they were like celebrating, and they were just having a ball. And again, that made Michelle upset again, because she felt like they were so busy celebrating that nobody ever came over to her and paid her any attention. I can definitely see how in that moment the guys maybe got caught up into the competition. They're men, you know how men are. So I think she should really let that go, but I can't tell Michelle how to feel, of course. Anyways, Michelle has a convo with the girl who I always forget her name, and she's just expressing to her about how she, growing up, she was like the token black girl and always being the only black person, and basically how the guys were acting. It brought her back to her childhood days and yada, yada, yada. And then the second part of the group date, the guys, they were, before Michelle actually came down, they were sitting around just talking, and you could just tell on their faces they were so excited to just have her come down and have a good day with her, because they felt like the group date had gone so well. So the team that won those people were going to get the one-on-one time with her. So they were just really excited, and then she came downstairs expressing her feelings about how she felt like she wasn't seen. And you can just tell in that moment, the looks on their faces went from so happy to just like, oh shit, more drama again. Like, we just got over our drama. Like, we screwed up. Then Olu starts crying. And when I first saw him crying, I was like, what the fuck? But then when he explained why he was crying, I was like, okay. I still think it was like just maybe a little bit too much. But I understand why he was crying. He says that he was crying because, you know, as a black man and as a black man with sisters, he knows how they felt growing up, having to be black. Not having to be black. Black is a beautiful thing to be. But being black and growing up black, the stuff that they dealt with. So he was upset with himself that he didn't pay Michelle more attention. So that made sense. So then Michelle talks to Nate first. We all know how I feel about Nate. I love Nate. I think Michelle and Nate would be a beautiful couple. I'm still on the fence about if Michelle were to pick Nate, do I think that he would 100% be the right man for her? I'm still on the fence about that. I have other people who I feel like if she picked, they will 100% be a good man, be a good husband, and can have a family and take their relationship to where she wants it to go and where they maybe want it to go to. I'm still on the fence about Nate, but I do think Nate is a good-looking guy, and I like how confident. I feel like he's very confident and self-aware, not to be confused with cocky and arrogant. So I do like that about Nate. I also feel like Olu. I feel like if she were to pick Olu is fine as hell. And I done dated some fine as hell men in my life, and normally the fine as hell men that I have dated, they ain't been shit. But something in my heart tells me that if she were to pick Olu, who I think is fine as hell, I think he would treat her like the queen that she deserves to be treated like. So I'm really a big fan of Olu. And when Olu expressed certain things to her, she did give him a rose, rightfully so. I think he deserved the rose. I also forgot to mention that on what's his name? Martin's date, who I don't like, he got a rose. And I was very upset that Michelle gave him a rose because I don't think he deserves a rose. And I think that because he got emotional and he communicated that she gave him a rose, but I honestly don't think he should have gotten a rose, just for the simple fact that he kind of was in disagreement with Jamie leaving. Anyway, Rick goes on his first date, which is the one-on-one date with Michelle, which is the date that you actually want to get, because that's a date where it's just you and Michelle, and it's a lot of time versus going on a group date. So then, you know, they started that kissing stuff, and oh, y'all know how I feel about that kissing stuff. I still can't get over how you can just kiss like that many guys. I wouldn't be able to do it, y'all. I would not be able to do it, right? So anyway, her and Rick, they had a pretty cool date. They got on a lift and went up the mountains, and they did some like nature walking. And as they were nature walking, they walked past this wish box thingy. And basically the wish box was for people to put you pull out wishes to read, and then you put your own wish in it. And one of the wishes that Rick pulled out, it said, "I wish my dad was here to see the man that I become." That literally touched my heart, because we all just want our parents to be proud of us, right? I find myself at almost 32 years old still wanting to make my parents proud, right? So the fact that some people don't have their parents here to see the man or woman that they have become, it's very sad. It's very sad. So that was very touching because Rick got emotional and he was like, my dad passed 3 years ago and I wish he was here to see the man that I have become and that I'm becoming. And I don't get that. So he got very emotional about that. Their date continued on. It was a fabulous, fabulous date to the point that Michelle said that that date was one of her favorite dates of all time. So that was really big. And with that being said, of course, Rick got a rose. And what I realized about Rick is actually really attractive. So I don't think I really paid attention to Rick in episode. I paid attention to him in episode 1 because he was the guy who, for his meeting, what is it called? When they like introduction or whatever, he was inside of the table. So that's how he introduced himself to Michelle, right? But I realized, I was like, wow, he's really, really, really attractive. So now my eyes are a little bit more open to Rick, not because he's attractive, but because I feel like he basically got the time that he needed on this episode. Because like us viewers, we got to know more about him and, you know, we got to see the emotional side of him. And I feel like he too, if he were picked as the Bachelorette's person, I think that he would do the right thing by her. I really do. I don't think Martin would do the right thing by Michelle. I feel like Martin, I don't know why, but he strikes me as like just a guy who just plays with women. I don't know why. It's just something about him that just strikes me as that. I don't know why. I just feel that way about him. Anyway, so we get into, at that point, they go into the cocktail hour / rose ceremony, and this is where the drama begins. Chris S. opens his big fucking mouth, and he goes on a rant. I just want to say, you know, Michelle, you felt like you weren't seen, and basically calling all the guys out, telling them they dropped the ball, and this, that, and the third. Mind you, he wasn't even there when she had that conversation with them, right? And she's like, oh, okay, Rick, thank you for that. And it's like, the guys are like, what are you doing? Like, why is it always somebody coming with some drama right before the rose ceremony? Like, y'all shut your fucking mouths. And one thing I will say, men are literally the biggest gossipers. They gossip more than women, and they just are ridiculous. Just more than women, okay? I couldn't believe he did that. He went on a whole rant. And, that, you know, we're here for Michelle and yada, 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 yada. Excuse me. Get your fucking ass back in line and shut your motherfucking mouth. I would have been pissed with his ass. That just came so out of left field, and that was so unnecessary. And then it's like basically what he was trying to do is like make himself look good. You weren't even there. So you already, you know, you're already off of the chopping block simply because you weren't there. The guys told you, the 6 guys told you what happened. You weren't there. So why do you feel the need to defend yourself? Oh, wait, because you're threatened. You feel threatened by Nate. That's why. That was so stupid. So then Brendan says to Michelle, can I take you for a quick second? Chris S. jumps his ass in and said, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to take her first. Really? That was so rude. I thought that was really rude. And I hate that Michelle looked at Brendan and was like, oh, Brendan, you asked first, but I'm just going to go with him real quick. Why? This fucking clown, I wanted his ass to go home. He needs to go home. Because that was just very clownish, okay? So one of the guys says what he did was out of place. And that was very much so out of place because it was just so unnecessary. Like Michelle had already gone over that, oh, I didn't feel seen, or I was very hurt, whatever, whatever. And then it was like, okay, it's done with. Like, you know, now we all apologize. So why are you bringing it back up? Why are you trying to get something going? Like, trash. Anyway, so then Chris goes and has a conversation with Michelle away from the guys. And he's like basically trying to butter himself up. He's like, as you know, I made you feel seen. Very convenient that you're telling me this right before the rose ceremony. Thank you for reminding me that you make me feel seen. And then he has the nerve to rat Nate out. He says, like, because some of these guys here, they think that they got it in the bag already and yada, yada, yada. And basically, he too is making up a story. Nobody said that they got it in the bag. Nobody said that. Basically, what he's referring to is when Nate said, oh, okay, I'm in a good place with her. So, you know, if I get the group date or if I get the one-on-one, I feel good either way. And I don't think there was anything wrong with him saying that, right? So anyways, then Michelle calls Nate to have a conversation with Nate because the guy, Chris S., done ran his fucking mouth. So Nate comes out and Michelle tells Nate, hey, Chris S. said that, you know, you're acting like you already got it in the bag and I want you to know that nobody has it in the bag and yada, yada, yada. And I do like Michelle for speaking up and, you know, not like just kind of like going with the flow. I like that she's really speaking up and letting these motherfuckers know, like, no, bitch, you ain't got it in the bag. Nobody here has it in the bag. Because if I don't like any of y'all, we can bring in new guys or I can leave and just not have one at all, okay? So I do like that. So then, of course, once Nate gets done talking with Michelle one-on-one, he goes and gets Chris. And what I do like about Nate, because I feel like he's done this a couple of times, he's stepped up and he's, like, been a man. And y'all know I love me some manly men. But he pulled Chris aside and he was like, yo, what was that? Yada, yada, yada. You know, why would you do that? Why did you say that? I didn't say that. I got it in the bag. And then Chris has the nerve to say, yep, I rode in on my white horse and saved her. Save her from what? What did you save her from? Now, your motherfucking ass is acting like the guys that you claim are acting like they got it in the bag. You're acting like you got it in the bag because you have the nerve to say, I saved her. You saved her from what? What did you save her from? Oh, yeah, nothing. That rubbed me the wrong way. I rode him on my white horse and saved her. Bitch, you're not Prince. You're not a prince. Get off your fucking white horse and give it to Nate. Give it to Olu. Give it to Joe. Give it to Clayton. Okay? Because you're not. You need to go home. Punk ass. Chris S. is a manipulator. And I bet you he goes home next week. Anyway, Joe and Michelle, they have their little quiet time, 3-5 minutes away. And y'all know I already tell y'all, she's feeling Joe. And they look like they have a really good time or whatever. And one thing that I loved about Joe when he had his little conversation with Michelle, he was like, you know, I told you that, you know, whenever you're going through a hard time, tell me so that I can make it right. And basically by him making it right, he was like, I know you like candy, so I have candy set up here. And I thought that was really cute. So that shows that he listens. I love guys who I like situations where you think that this kind of is more so for like the dating world. Well, even now, I experience this in my relationship because sometimes I'll think that my boyfriend isn't listening to me and then he'll like do something for me. Like for instance, these Trulies. I was like, oh, I see that they have Truly Holiday and I'm gonna try it. I was like, but I want to get it from Target because if I don't like it, I can return it at Target. So then he went and got it from, I don't have no idea where. He didn't get it from Target. But he went and picked it up and like came home with it like one random morning. So like stuff like that. I like when guys listen. So I like the fact that Joe listened to something Michelle said and reciprocated in the moment that she needed it the most. So I thought that was really cool. So then Olu and Chris, they get into like a little back and forth match or whatever. It's very low. It's not like they're yelling loud or arguing whatever. It's very like monotone and they're just kind of going back and forth. And then Olu says, I bet you ain't getting a rose tonight. And then Chris, I had to write it down. Chris says, oh, from the perception that I got upstairs that it says otherwise. So when and then he does like a little confessional and he says, when I get a rose, I'm going to turn around, look at Olu and wink at him. And then for Chris S to say, oh, from the impression that I got upstairs, is that the perception? From the perception that I got upstairs, I'm definitely getting a rose tonight. To me, that's acting like you got it in the bag. Why you acting like you got it in the bag? Didn't you just tell her that these guys are walking around here acting like they already got it in the bag? Oh, wait, but you just said from the perception that you got upstairs, you're definitely getting a rose tonight. So to me, that's acting like you got it in the bag, bitch. I don't like him. And then he's running his mouth just constantly just acting very something he's not. But I think he has to do that because he knows that she's not 100% feeling him the way she's feeling some of the other guys. So I think all of the stuff that he's doing is just coming from basically feeling threatened more so than anything. So anyways, they get through the rose ceremony, and the guys who go home, Romeo goes home, Will goes home, and Chris G goes home. So not Chris S, the guy that I wanted to go, but Chris G. And I was always on the fence about Romeo. I wasn't really sure. I feel like he's kind of mysterious. Like, he seems like, I don't know. But I'm not sad that any of those guys are going home. Chris G, I loved his energy on episode 3. So maybe a little sad to see him go. But I'm definitely not sad to see Romeo. Definitely not sad to see Will go. And then at the end of the episode, Chris S says, I got called, because Chris S ended up getting his rose last. So Nate got the rose second to last, and then Chris S got his rose last, the Chris that I don't like. And then he had the nerve to say, I got called last, but I knew I was getting a rose the whole time. Who the fuck is acting like they got it in the bag? Chris S. He has to go home next week. He has to. That blew my mind when he said that. It blew my mind when he said, I rode in on my white horse and saved her. And it blew my mind at the end of the episode when he had the nerve to say, I got my rose last, but I knew I was getting a rose tonight, so I wasn't worried. Okay. Anyways, at the end of the episode, Michelle announces that she's no longer going to be in Palm Springs, and neither are they. They're all going to Minneapolis. Yes, that's how you say it. Minnesota, Minneapolis, whatever it's called. Minneapolis, Minnesota, wherever. But basically, they're going to her hometown, and next week we're going to see the show in her hometown. So that's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And that's pretty much it. It was a really good episode. Of course, there always has to be some drama. You can't have reality TV without the drama. So we're going to see what next week brings. And that's pretty much all I got. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Like the video. Feel free to comment. We can have open discussion in the comments. And y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.